third overall pick. The guy the 49ers gave up a lot to move from 12 to get. Trey Lance, last night, slow start at SoFi Stadium against the Chargers. At one point, his passer rating late in the first half was 0.0.
Yeah.
Woke it up a little bit, came out of it. All in all, he was 8 for 14, 102 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, 2 sacks, and 1 carry for 8 yards. You more concerned about the rough start, or are you more encouraged by the stronger finish?
Well, I mean, listen, a little bit of both. Hey, the finish is encouraging because you saw him calm down. He started to make a few throws, played in the pocket a little bit better, those type of things. Now, again, context. Yeah, it wasn't against a first or a second team defense when he did some of that stuff, So, there is that aspect. But I think for the second week in a row, what we saw at the start of the game, reared its ugly head for a period or for a few series, just like we saw in the first preseason game, where, a little bit of like deer in the headlights. And I don't want to mean like he's overwhelmed physically, but a little bit like, wait, I'm in the pocket, it's collapsing. Where do I get the ball out? Do I throw it away? Is there a back that I can check the ball down to? Instead, he takes a sack. Those type of things. Then, of course, the throwing, Mike, as you heard me say last week, right? My big point was every throw is a fastball, 100 miles per hour. And you look at like the missed third down conversion on his first series and then the interception on his second series. That's just it's on him. It's an inaccurate, too hard of a football over the middle that, of course is going to lead to bad things. And we saw the ball goes up in the air, it gets intercepted. So I'm still concerned with the ability to throw and dissect people from the pocket, I think, to a degree. But there is still some high-end talent to love and like about the player, certainly. And, I mean, I'm excited about him. I am. Nonetheless, he's just raw, and he needs to play more and more.
He did have one throw that was not the frozen rope.
Right, the one down the right sideline.
As you would call it.
Right.
Down the right sideline of Surf Field late in the first half. That was part of the waking up out of that funk he was in. That was encouraging because you had me pre-positioned, and his play had me further reinforced to be constantly looking for laser beam, laser beam, laser beam. That was more of a rainbow.
It was.
And it shows that he's starting to learn that you can't constantly be putting your whole arm into every throw that you make.
No doubt about it. That's what we got to see from him. That's what I mean by, different clubs in the bag, diversity in throws and those type of things. Come on. You and I, we're friends. We love watching Drew Brees and Rodgers, and because of Mahomes, all the different types of throws. Yeah, we know Rodgers and Mahomes can throw lasers, but the ability that they have to stand on their back foot and loft the ball over a defender and just drop it in the bucket right into the receiver's hands, that's where they're special. And that's where I don't know about Trey Lance being able to do that consistently yet. Again, I see the top-end ability and the pop in his arm. I mean, both touchdown passes, quick release, bam, on the money, love it. I just haven't seen enough yet to know, is that going to be him consistently? Can he do that all the time? And that's what we got to continue to watch for. But I think the encouraging thing is kind of what you said, Mike. He worked himself out of it. And I think that's the positive thing where Shanahan can go away and go, man, even though he was in a little funk here early on and he took some sacks and threw some inaccurate balls, he wasn't so flustered that it affected him the next 3 or 4 drives and he fell apart. He battled back and, like you said, made a great 2-minute drive there at the end of the first half, and I think gave them something positive to build on.
As we talk about the extent to which Trey Lance is firing the ball in, it reminded me of a dynamic I became aware of when I was in high school. And you were either not born yet or in diapers. I think you were in diapers. Then again, there's still a chance that
I still am.
But the Elway Cross. Are you familiar with the Elway Cross?
Yes, let's go there. Let's do that. Go ahead. Of course I am. Yes.
At Stanford, just down the road from Santa Clara, or up the road, depending upon where Santa Clara is in relation to Palo Alto. I still think it's a little up the road. Broken fingers routinely from Elway with his college receivers. I'm sure it's still happening in the NFL too. And the Elway Cross, the imprint of the point of the football, leaving a bruise on the body of the receiver in the shape of the cross where the 4 panels of leather come together. So, it's a staple for quarterbacks with big arms to fire the ball, and it's up to the receiver to find a way to catch it.
No doubt. And this is where, listen, we don't have the video today. We got a little problem. I wish we could show some of these throws, okay? I'm not trying to be a jerk to anybody in the company or anything like that.
Sometimes you don't have to try.
I know. I'm doing it. Bam. Here I am because I'm excited to show some of this video. But, you bring up a great point. First off, yeah, power in the arm is important. It allows an offensive coordinator to call plays and do things that he wouldn't be able to do. Trey Lance has that. There's no doubt about it. But where it has to be refined a little bit, at least in my opinion, one is, I got into this with somebody on Twitter a little last week. Pete Demolitolitis will tell you. Because Lance, I think, pure power can throw the ball when he wants to throw it as hard as he can. He can throw it almost as hard as Josh Allen and Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers. It's right up there with them. But the problem is he doesn't have the control when he does it. Those guys can throw their 103-mile-per-hour fastball and paint corners and put it wherever they want. Lance, as we've seen, it could be right down the middle of the plate, but then the next throw could be 4 feet behind the guy and no spiral. And whoa, we got video, baby. But see, even that ball there, Mike, rifle. But this is what I want you to peep a little bit as we go and watch him. The ball doesn't spin very much, and it usually has a wobble. This is like he's a little bit of a knuckleball thrower. Now, that was perfect on the money, but I think that's why you see some of these drops and some of these balls missed a little here. Now, this is what he did at North Dakota State. Look to the left, either a go route or an out route, and he rifled in cuts over the middle. I mean, that was like 70% of his college tape right there. But again, do you notice the ball there? How there's not tremendous spin or spiral, and it has a wobble. And that, to me, of course, shows maybe lack of control of the football. And anybody will tell you, receivers, quarterbacks, balls like that are hard to catch. It's like a cement brick coming at you all the time. Allen, Mahomes, Rodgers, they could throw the ball that hard, but since the ball spins so fast and it's a perfect spiral, it's easy to focus on a target as it comes into your hands. Your eyes can stay right on that cross like you're talking about with Elway. And because of the perfect spiral, it just digs right into their hand. Now, if the ball's wobbling and doing like this, all of a sudden the point hits the palm and you might drop it and do those type of things. And that's just, again, where I'd like to see Lance clean it up a little bit and become a little more efficient.
Help me understand this.
Yeah.
How can he put that much velocity on the ball if it's not spinning? We're always led to believe that the way to get the most out of a football and have it cut through the air, that weird shape, is to spin it and it slices through. How is he getting so much mustard on it if it's not spinning?
Yeah, because you could still throw it with pace without spinning. It's a little bit with his motion and some of the things he does that way that just don't cause it to come off his hand like, when we saw Patrick Mahomes in the divisional playoff game in that Colts game. Remember that? I saw him warming up, and I was like, oh, my gosh. The ball's whistling. I can't believe how fast it's doing that. He doesn't have that coming off his hands yet. There's things he needs to fix with his arm positioning and the rest of his mechanics that would help that out. And he can do that, I think. I mean, again,
what would you tell him to do? What would you tell him to do right now?
Well, the biggest thing I would tell him to do is probably, he has this throw where he does this and then his arm goes back. I mean, anybody watch him out. He wings it around with his arm and then he does this as he warms up. Every throw. Oh, that's what he does. It needs to be more through here like that, a smoother motion to go like that. The ball will roll off the hands and throw perfect spirals. And if you watch Brady or Rodgers, that's how they throw the football. And that's why they throw such a catchable football that way. So it's refining that way, that hopefully he can get. But we saw some encouragement there, and I do like his skill set. One thing I'm going to say, Mike, I know I have my quarterback rankings and all that stuff. Man, all 5 of these guys look good. I don't look at any of them and go, I see definite bust in this one. I think Lance is maybe the most raw so far, but damn, they all look good and have talent and something that I look at and go, they could be something. They could be something special.
That would be amazing if the 2021 quarterback draft would go 5 for 5 with guys who not just land on the pass side of pass-fail, but become consistent contributors to contending teams and make their way into the top 10. That's the problem, especially with so many older quarterbacks still hanging around and playing at a high level, like Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. Younger guys that are playing at a high level. You can't, at some point, a good quarterback is going to be viewed as not good because he's going to be playing for a team that isn't good. And, he gets decent numbers, but his team's 4-13. So is he really a franchise quarterback?
Right.
That ups the ante for everyone. If you have 5 great young quarterbacks coming into the NFL, that puts more pressure on the guys who are already there to step it up, or they're going to fall off. One of the reasons why Russell Wilson is dipped in your rankings, other younger guys are starting to jump him.
No doubt. It's talent. I mean, look at these guys. I mean, Zach Wilson's coming to the league. Oh, he's from BYU. Oh, yeah, he doesn't care. He looks like Aaron Rodgers from the second he stepped on the field throwing lasers. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence, okay, it wasn't perfect, but he looks the part. I mean, Justin Fields, come on. I know it hasn't been against the first-team defense, but it's a highlight show to this point. Mac Jones is just wheeling and dealing like he's been in the NFL for 6 years. He looks like he's been training with Tom Brady and knows the offense in and outs. And then Trey Lance, we see, some all over the place, but we've seen a few like, whoa, look at that right there. Damn, that was good. So it's an impressive group, and you're right. It's going to be about the support system and the ability to continue to grow. And most importantly, as we know, regular season football is different than the preseason. Can you consistently make the right decisions, the right throws, the right plays, all those type of things? But it's a good start for all of them so far.
1 carry for 8 yards, as we mentioned last night, for Trey Lance against the Chargers. And that play involved a tackle up the sideline that made me just a little bit nervous because you got a quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo who can't stay healthy. And I think one of the things that Kyle Shanahan wants to see from Lance is, does he know how to protect himself?
I think so, too.
Do you think they're deliberately not unleashing him as a runner, in part to keep him healthy? And number 2, kind of to hold something back. Let's not let everyone know what they're going to face when the time comes. Let's just let them see when week 1 rolls around.
Right. Let's just let them see when week 1 rolls around, and let's work on the things that we might not be good at here. I mean, to me, it's like alarms are going off. I'm so glad you brought that up, Mike, because I wanted to talk about this today. I mean, Shanahan's holding it back. He doesn't want anybody to see. He doesn't. And that just, again, to me, makes me believe that, Jimmy Garoppolo might be the starter week 1, but Trey Lance is going to have a package of plays ready. I mean, the fact that we haven't seen one design quarterback run yet, to me, would scare the death out of me if I'm the Detroit Lions, because that means Shanahan's psycho time. He's building an offense and all these crazy runs, and you're not going to have any idea until it hits you in the face week 1, and that is scary. And I do think there's going to be an element of that, and I think, of course, them not showing that, makes me feel even more that they're going to unveil it at some point early in the year.
And just to put a button on the point we made earlier about the ability of Trey Lance and the necessity of him taking some of the heat off of his passes, here's the throw we were discussing earlier down the right sideline late in the first half, turning around what was a rocky start. And, that's the kind of thing that we need to see. It's the variety in that. The speed, the arc, everything, showing that you have mastery of the position, not just crank it up and fire it every time. Yeah, exactly right.
Hey, it's one-on-one on the outside. George Kittle's got a linebacker behind him. I need to loft it up and put it up there to where my guy can get it and nobody else can. I mean, yes, it's those type of throws, and that was the first time we saw that. Very encouraging. So it shows you that it's in his toolbox. He's just got to get comfortable and confident throwing those type of footballs and just doing it and getting better and better at it to where, he can do it and not think about it, and it could be a flick of the wrist, just like we see from Rodgers, Allen, or Mahomes, where we go, doesn't even look like they're throwing it, they're just flicking it. And it's like, no, actually, they're doing a lot of things mechanically perfect, and they know how to just make it look like they flick it to throw those balls soft. So hopefully he can get there. But I think you should be excited what we see with Trey Lance. It's not perfect, but I don't know, Mike. I don't know.
Well, ultimately,
let's talk.
Chris,
yes, go ahead.
What we think about it doesn't matter. What anyone else thinks about it doesn't matter. There's one guy whose opinion of Trey Lance versus Jimmy Garoppolo matters. Here's your guy, Kyle Shanahan, after the game last night, talking about whether or not anything has changed to alter the presumption that Jimmy Garoppolo will be the starter week 1 against the Lions.
No, I haven't seen that. I would love for it to be more and more each week, but, I think the situation is pretty similar right now.
And did you make an announcement? Is Jimmy Garoppolo your starter week 1?
No, I'm not making that announcement. Let's try though. Whenever I feel like it. Not tonight.
I don't get it. I don't get it. What is he? I guess I do get it, because I've said in the past, the plan is there is no plan. The plan is we're just going to see how the plan reveals itself to us. We're going to go out there, we're going to have our practices, we're going to play our preseason games, and we will know when it's time to flip from Garoppolo to Lance. And I take from what he said, Chris, the first question and the second question, nothing's changed, but I'm not going to name Garoppolo the starter. There's still 3 more weeks, and something can happen in the next 3 weeks to make Kyle Shanahan say, now's the time. And if it doesn't happen in the next 3 weeks, it could happen in the next 4 weeks, 5 weeks. But that door is going to stay open for Lance to get to the point where Kyle Shanahan says, this is the moment where he supplants Jimmy Garoppolo as the starting quarterback of the team.
No doubt. I mean, I think that answer just shows you right there, first off, that, Jimmy Garoppolo, it's been good. He's not blowing the doors off. And Jimmy Garoppolo, again, hey, you're supposed to be Johnny in the pocket quarterback, accurate passer. If you're going to go out there and throw in inaccurate passes and get them intercepted, then damn, we might as well play Trey Lance. What's the point? So I think there's got to be some aspect of that. Listen, I'm really torn here with this one, Mike. I was just going to ask you where to go with this. Like, Jimmy Garoppolo is just not special to me. It's just, he's pretty average. He's below average NFL starting quarterback, in my opinion. And I just feel like there's almost a part of me that just goes, you know what? You're the 49ers. You're Kyle Shanahan. I've seen you do this with RG3 already, and this team's way better than that Washington team you had in RG3. Maybe you just start Trey Lance. And, it might not be pretty, but we could see he could start off bad and battle back like we saw last night. Or nonetheless, I just feel like it'll be a very short leash for Jimmy Garoppolo, like you're talking about, where even if they win the first 2 games and it's not real like, wow, our offense is killing it and hitting on all cylinders, I think it's going to be Trey Lance time. I really do. I just think like all the signals say that they're at their wits' ends with Jimmy G from what we've heard the last year and a half, and then Shanahan's still not naming him a starter and doing those type of things. I just think it's probably closer in his mind than maybe we all think.
Look, for me, it was a no-brainer. The moment that they make the move, giving up the 12th overall pick in this year's draft, next year's first rounder, the 2023 first rounder, and a third rounder to move up for one guy. You're ultimately getting one guy, and you gave up all that stuff to get one guy. And regardless of the talk and the speculation about who it was going to be, is it Mac Jones, is it Justin Fields, is it Trey Lance, whatever it is, you don't make that move if you're not ready to make that guy your quarterback. And I thought at that moment, that's it for Jimmy G. Now, it's entirely possible they decided we are going to play this cool, we're going to play this coy, we're going to keep our cards close to the vest, we're going to sit and wait for the possibility of a Sam Bradford type of a trade from 2016 where the Eagles got flat out lucky and were able to unload Bradford for a first-round pick and a fourth-round pick after the Teddy Bridgewater injury and go with Carson Wentz as a rookie in 2016. Maybe that happens.
Yeah.
Or all else fails. And look, we are 8 days away from cutting the roster to 53, but more importantly, we're 20 days away from the first game. And at some point, it's like if you're on the roster, and I don't know when the drop-dead moment is. It's probably 4 p.m. Eastern, the day before the first game. If you're on the active roster, your salary is, if you're a vested veteran, guaranteed. I still think at some point before Jimmy Garoppolo's $25 million becomes fully guaranteed, they're going to go to him and they're going to say, we can't justify paying you $25 million. We'll pay you 12, and we'll put together an elaborate incentive package where you can make the other 12 back. If you play all year and we win the Super Bowl, you make it all back and you get your 25. But I still think that's part of what may be coming. Because if you think you're ready to go with Lance, you have to look at it as a business. You have to look at it as how much you're paying Garoppolo. And if you're planning on benching him by week 3 against the Packers, why the hell are you paying him $25 million? I feel like,
yeah.
And look, I'm not patting ourselves on the back here. Maybe we're just wrong. Maybe everybody else is right, but nobody else mentions that angle.
I agree, man.
That's a real angle in all of this, and it just kind of gets overlooked. Oh, they got the money. Oh, they've already got their – oh, that's fine. No, it's not fine. And I know Jed York said at one point after the draft, well, if we have to pay Jimmy Garoppolo $50 million and that's part of the investment to develop Trey Lance, so be it. BS, I say to that. BS. They're not in the business of giving money away to people who don't deserve it.
No.
And if Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't deserve $25 million, he ain't getting it.
No. I mean, he might not deserve $25 million. Mike, I mean, I think you bring up a lot of good points, and I would think that those are things that are kind of percolating around the brains of, Shanahan and Lynch and things like that. The only thing I say that I guess backs me off a little bit about what you're saying to a degree is what if Jimmy says no, right? And I know they got Nate Sudfeld there.
Goodbye, Jimmy.
I know.
It
could be
nice.
goodbye. I know, but this is where I'm just saying maybe he has a little power here. And I know we've hit on this before. They're a Super Bowl team, the 49ers. Are they really rookie quarterback going to go with him and not have a backup they trust here? Because Nate Sudfeld, I wouldn't trust him. There's no way. I mean, sorry. If he has to play, you'd be right back in Nick Mullinsville, where I think, where he'll be screwing games up left and right. So that's where I think he has a little power, at least just for this year, where they might go to him and go, can you take a pay cut? And he'll go, no, I got other teams out there. I'd rather go be a backup from them than go here and do that. That could be a scary possibility for them. Maybe.
But Chris,
I hear you.
If they offer to pay him, and let's say $10 million. With the opportunity to make back 15 if he starts every game, stays healthy all year, they get to the Super Bowl and win it. You could put together a $15 million incentive package. But the base amount's $10 million that becomes fully guaranteed week 1. And this is how it goes. We've seen this happen time and again. It'll happen with other players this year. The player has to ask himself, okay, I got the bird in the hand at 10. It's September.
Yeah.
Everybody else's depth charts are set.
Yeah.
Who's going to pay me more than $10 million at this point to walk through the door and be the backup? The Patriots sure as hell aren't going to do it. They got Cam Newton and Mac Jones. That door slammed shut the moment they picked Mac Jones. Who's going to pay him more than $10 million? Now, he could do it on principle. He could say, I don't want your $10 million. I'll take $5 million somewhere else. If he wants to be stupid, he's got the right to do it.
Yeah.
But that's one of the reasons why when you get to the out years of a contract and the money isn't guaranteed and there's no trigger early in the offseason to force the team to make a decision, they can play this game, and they do play this game, and they can make you an ultimatum at a time when you've got no viable alternative. That's why I'm not taking my eye off of that angle. It may not come to fruition, but we have to keep our eye on that possibility.
No, I don't think you're crazy, Mike. Listen, another part of this I want to bring up, and then, I mean, we might, who knows what we're going to get to in this show today. We got 2 or 3 subjects I think we could talk the whole show on. Like, again, like what we're talking about here, and I do think there's going to be an interest, like you're talking about, to try to get Trey Lance in there. And if Garoppolo doesn't play well, to make him the starter and do that. When is the right time? That's the other thing I just keep looking at here too. I mean, the Lions and the Eagles are the start of their year. Is that the right time? I do believe Shanahan could go, wait, I'm going to have some quarterback design runs with my running game more as normal with my running backs and all that, some bootlegs and some play actions. Think we're going to have Nick Bosa back, and the defense is going to be ready to go. We can play a style of football where it might not be pretty, but we got to win a game 20-10 or 23-13 or something like that. I don't think it's that crazy. And the more and more I think about it, the more and more I just want to go for it. Like, just it's time. Go for it. Play Trey Lance. We heard Shanahan say he was the smartest quarterback in the draft. That's one of the things they love. He didn't turn the ball over in college football much. If he can trust him and just feel good that, wait, I trust him, and even the worst thing he'll do is take a sack or do something like that, man, if I was at that point, and of course I don't get to see practice and all that, I think I would be leaning Trey Lance right now and just say the hell with it. We're going to start the Trey Lance era, and we're going to grow as a football team, and here we go.
But look at that peacock on the screen at week
3.
There's so much talk about our week 4 game, and justifiably so, Buccaneers at Patriots. But week 3, home opener for the San Francisco 49ers. After a couple of games that, if this was a college schedule, that's how you would want to schedule it if you were a college team. Get a couple of road apples early so you can get ready for the conference slate.
Yeah, right.
And it's the perfect opportunity to work him in, build some confidence,
I know,
and then get ready for that game. When Matt LaFleur comes to town with Aaron Rodgers, Kyle Shanahan's got a chance to say, hey, Matt, you've only got Aaron for another year. I got this guy.
Yeah.
I got this guy for 10.
Right.
So check out what I've done with the guy who is far different from my prototypical quarterback.
Yeah.
This is my new prototype, the guy who can run and throw. I just think that I'm starting to come around here. The way the schedule falls together, it makes sense to make Trey Lance your week 1 starter. It makes sense to do it. And then you get him ready for week 3. That's when the season really begins. All due respect to the Lions and the Eagles, the season begins week 3.
Right. There's no good place to do it all during the year. I mean, it's never going to be easy. It's never. And I don't know. I'm kind of the one that just goes, how about we just end training camp and hit the ground running to where you've been getting reps and we just keep it going. And now I'm going to formulate a game plan around you that nobody's seen yet. So he can make life easy on him. Like we said, we've seen him do it before. I think the big thing to me, just to whether he can pull the trigger on that or not, because I know Kyle in this, and I have no inside information on any of these topics, nothing. But I know enough to know about Kyle. The quarterback's got to be in the trust tree. He's got to be, if he thinks you're going to mess things up or throw an errant ball, down the middle on the regular and, be careless with the football, then he won't play you. He can deal with mistakes, but if you're going to be careless with the football, he won't. He won't deal with that. And if Trey Lance,
he'll run the ball, he'll turn you into Bob Greasy.
Right. That was when he had no options. Right. Exactly right. Yeah. So, but if he can trust Lance to at least take care of the football, I'm erring on it's go time. What we know what Jimmy G is. And if he's your backup quarterback and Trey Lance doesn't do well and you feel like you got to bench him, Jimmy G will be able to step in and be a pro and be ready to go if they do keep him as the backup.
We know what Jimmy G is, and more importantly, they know what Jimmy G is.
Exactly.
And that's why they gave up all that stuff to go get a new quarterback. All right. Well, it's up in the air for week 1 for the 49ers.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.